Well, virtual group hug. In the past,
Good morning.
that's the problem. A lot of people do get caught up in what
I want
happened
to tell
in
you
the
about a woman
past.
named Natalie.
Sometimes
When
to
she
the
was
point
a-
where it really
she
just
was a girl.
paralyzes them from
She
moving
came
forward.
to her parents and asked, "What can I do in life that will make me the most money?" So the parents had a conversation with her, but they basically recommended, well, start your own business is a good way to make a lot of money. So find something you enjoy doing. So she did start her own company. Things went very well. She actually became quite wealthy. Her company is one you'd recognize the name of the corporation because she became influential in business circles and international business circles. But she wasn't feeling fulfilled. And she went to go see her doctor, have a checkup that she had skipped for quite a few years, and she was diagnosed with breast cancer. And it just hit her like a ton of bricks. Wow. This wasn't what she was expecting. And so she was considering her treatment options, and she had a dream one night. And the dream was she was watching a woman building a mountain out of rocks. So here this woman was diligently piling rocks upon each other and working around the clock. And at the end, she sees this beautiful big mountain of rocks, like Pikes Peak. And then she's standing on the top of it, just feeling triumphant. And all of a sudden, Natalie notices a crack, and all of the rocks are falling down and collapsing. And she shouts out to the woman, "Look out!" And she suddenly sees that the woman is flying rather than falling into all of the rocks. And she said she had the realization, one, that it's not the mountain you build that dictates your altitude, and that she was putting too much effort into material things rather than spiritual things. A lot of us have done that, over our lifetime, recognizing that we pour a lot of energy into something that we thought was important, but then we move on. This is Memorial Day. And of course, it was first established after the Civil War to remember all of the people who died in the Civil War. Percentage-wise, it was our most devastating war that we've had. But I've noticed that it's become a default day of remembrance for people, remembering loved ones who passed away. Now, you'll notice that the title of the talk today is How to Change the Past. Now, some people may be thinking, well, why bother? What's happened has happened. But a lot of people get stuck in the memory of something that has happened, especially if it's unpleasant. There is a divine idea called freedom. Freedom from things from our past. In Unity, we say that hell is useless, unnecessary suffering. We do have suffering in our lives, everyone does, but when we wallow in it, when we get stuck in it, it becomes useless, unnecessary suffering. There's a great quote from the German philosopher Schiller. He lived from 1759 to 1805. He says, freedom is not about doing what you want. Freedom is about being who you must be. I'll say that again. Freedom is not about doing what you want. It's about being who you must be. In the Old Testament book of Joel, 2nd chapter, 25th verse, it reads, "I will restore to you the years which the swarming locusts have eaten." I mentioned people being caught up in an unpleasant memory, feeling stuck. Let's go over 3 things that don't work, and that many of us have tried. First is the wishing it didn't happen. In your own mind, you're like, oh, if I'd only done this, if I'd only done that. Second one is to lie about it. to just kind of put out there, oh, well, I was triumphant. It's like, no, I wasn't triumphant. Third is to just suppress the memories. And it happens, of course, with a lot of people who've had a real trauma in their life. They'll suppress the memory. But sooner or later, kind of like holding a beach ball down underneath the water, it's got to pop up. It'll pop up in dreams, or just a miserable mood, or more likely, they'll have a psychosomatic illness that will surface. I know in Unity we recognize that suppressed anger, and truly suppressed, where you're not expressing it, often leads to some sort of cancer in the body. And of course, as many counselors know, when someone is dealing with substance abuse, it's because they're trying to kill an emotional pain that they're having difficulty coping with. So let's not waste our time with those things anymore. Let's look for an effective way, a spiritual approach to how do you handle it when we have unpleasant memories. So let's say I've got an unpleasant memory. First thing I need to realize is that I know better now. In fact, I learned a lot from going through the experience. But we tend to want to project onto that person that we were in the past, the person that we are now, with the wisdom that we have now. And that just doesn't work, because each moment, each day, each week, each year, we learn much more about ourselves. We're spiritual beings having a human experience. So we grow spiritually by doing things. Well, it's hard to figure out who you are until sometimes you figure out who you are not. We do these things, experimenting, trying on the clothes of particular experiences, and then suddenly, we get to recognize that just doesn't work for me. I'm going to move on and do something differently. We each have free will. We may be given a bit of an outline of what we want to do when our soul incarnates into this life. But we've got the choice on how we want to do them, how we want to have those realizations. And the reason we come back life after life is to experience everything. Rich, poor, male, female. We come back in these various lives because we want to feel the fullness of this physical world. Realize that our memories are a perspective. It's up to us to decide what a particular experience means. And our minds are meaning-making machines and want to find meaning in whatever happens to surface in our life. But we're the ones who label it as whether it's good or bad. We're the ones who label it as to whether we were triumphant or we weren't triumphant. What we find so often, though, is that if we have an experience that we have labeled as being unpleasant and wishing that we had done it again, we can perhaps shift our whole focus on what happened. So the second thing we want to do is take our mind off of the memory and place it in God as we know God to be. One of the aspects of God is that God is omnipresence. God is present everywhere at any time. And as I've coached people here at Unity of Tampa and previous congregations I've served, one of the things we want to do is let go of the thoughts of the past and let go of concerns about the future so that we can truly be in the moment. And in this moment, we actually feel that presence. We feel that amazing power of God, that all-knowing mind of God that can guide us. So consider that at the time we had the unpleasant memory, God was present there, ready to guide us, be all-powerful. But this is the moment that we can, within that aspect of now, say, okay, God, show me the good in what happened there. Help me understand the lesson that I had. Help me understand the effect that that event had, not only on me, but perhaps on others. And then we can evoke a healing about it, because we get a better sense of, we've got a different perspective, I guess is the best way to put it. We talk about God being one presence, one power in the universe and in my life, God the good omnipotent. Now, in Genesis, 50th chapter, 20th verse, Joseph says, "As for you, you meant evil against me, but God meant it for good, to bring it about that many people should be kept alive as they are today." And there's a similar reading. In fact, I just used it recently. In the New Testament, Paul's letter to the Romans, 8th chapter, 28th verse. "We know that in everything, God works for good with those who love God, who are called according to his purpose." There have been times in my life where I'll have an injustice happen to me, and I want justice. It's like I want to go back and show people the right way it should have happened. A lot of times that other person or that other group isn't open to hearing what my perspective on it is. So I have to, within myself, use my power of renunciation, my power of forgiveness, to let it go. And I found it doesn't happen instantly. Sometimes it takes a lot of work. Sometimes it just takes sticking with it for a while. When Peter asked Jesus, how many times should I forgive? And Jesus says 70 times 7. Well, that's symbolism. 7 means completion at the physical world level. And when you put a 0 in there, it means as long as it takes for that to happen. So what he basically said to Peter was, how long do you have to forgive them? You have to forgive them until it's done, until it's done. And I find a good measure of that is when I can recall something without reliving the emotion that I had back then. I get to the point where I recognize, oh, yeah, boy, that was unpleasant at the time, but imagine the things that I learned from that. Or the fact that the frustration and that everything seemed to be holding me in place until, sure enough, the opportunity that I had later came forward. And I've talked about that with Unity of Tampa. As a lot of you know, I just started here on Christmas Eve. And I've been looking for a congregation for 2 years to serve. And I'd shake my fist at God. What's wrong with me? Why are all these congregations saying, nah, never? It was because, I needed to wait for Unity of Tampa to be open. And when I learned that, Alan and Debbie had retired, back around April 2016, I had this knowing, wow, Unity of Tampa would be a really good fit for Carla and me, but there's no way we could wait for that long for a congregation to serve. Well, God laughed. So, once we realize our oneness with God and realize that there is a divine order to how things unfold, we can ask for that healing. Give us that new perspective. Give us the new feeling that we need to have. We're spiritual beings having a human experience, so we can transform spiritual energy into the physical world and create things. That's the symbolism of the alchemist, someone who can turn lead into gold. Consider that lead, the lead weight of those old memories, the lead weight of wishing if only, the lead weight can be transfixed into gold. A golden experience. Recognize, yeah, I learned a lot from that experience. I'm going to have Walt put up a slide of this week's takeaways. And I'll go ahead and post this on Facebook later today, so you can jump at the Unity of Tampa Facebook page and get these. But first one is, I know better now. Don't judge what you did and how you did it and why you did it back then. It's like, okay, it's done. But 2, I get to choose what it means. So if I find I'm getting all caught up in the emotion of the memory of it, it's like, well, I need some healing to do. So we think about God. Focus on the now. Bring yourself into that point of like, okay, let's just let go of those thoughts for a moment. Be in the moment and feel that presence of God. And then ask the questions. Show me the good in this. What do I need to know so that I can move forward in a healthy way? And then ask for the healing. Reveal that which needs to be revealed. Heal that which needs to be healed. Allowing it to come to us. And sometimes it might not come immediately in meditation, but it does come through some aspects, through some communication. We get the message that we need to get. And have our aha moment, and then we can move forward. Our closing story is from Steve Hartman of the CBS Evening News about a woman.
Whoa. Even in Texas, a horse only gets you so far. Which is why 15-year-old Justin Rozier has been thinking lately about a car. Specifically, he told his mom, Jessica, he would love to have a car, any car, that his dad once owned.
Whoa.
I mean, it could have been a 1974 Dodge Astro. I don't even know if that's a car, but it could have been anything, and he would have said yes.
Why?
I know that he wishes his dad was here.
In 2003, Justin's dad, Army First Lieutenant Jonathan Rozier, died in Iraq. Justin was 9 months old. Today, he cherishes anything that used to belong to his dad, which is why he thought it would be so cool to have his car.
I don't know, like just knowing that he had it, it's a whole lot different than just any other thing, really.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
after John died, Jessica had to sell the car, a '99 Toyota Celica convertible like this one. Finding it again would be nearly impossible, but Jessica said she had to at least try.
So I feel like this is something that would connect him.
But this is a needle in a haystack.
Well, I've seen magical things happen on Facebook.
So she turned to Facebook, posted the old VIN number with a note asking for help, and somehow that message made it all the way to Pleasant Grove, Utah, where local residents not only found the car.
We decided, let's see if we can buy the car.
This is Kyle Fox. Now, I'm not saying he's a saint, but
to serve and
that butterfly stayed there for half an hour.
no, I don't even know where I was in that.
Anyway, Kyle, who runs a nonprofit called Follow the Flag, got donations to purchase the car and then assembled a team of volunteer mechanics to fix it like new. All of this unbeknownst to Justin until this very moment. Last month, Kyle drove the car from Utah to surprise Justin for his 15th birthday.
Go see it.
I can't tell you what this meant to Justin. I mean, I really can't. He tried to explain it to me, but when he opened his mouth, no words fell out.
It's a link to the past for him. It's a big thing for me, too. I never got to see him come home. So that just one moment right there was, I think I needed that.
Obviously, this was never about a car. No, this was about trying to push past what you can't forget. Trying to remember what you never knew. All with the help of a country so grateful and kind, you can't imagine.
I'm so glad we could do this for you.
Steve Hartman, on the road, in Moore, Texas.
From the Old Testament book of Joel, 2nd chapter, starting with the 23rd verse. Be glad, O sons of Zion, and rejoice in Jehovah your God, for he has given the early rain for your vindication. The threshing floors will be full of grain, the vats shall overflow with wine and olive oil. I will restore to you the years which the swarming locusts have eaten. You shall eat in plenty and be satisfied, and praise the name of Jehovah your God, who has dealt wondrously with you, and my people shall never again be put to shame. And may you always be open to God's guidance and grace. Let's prepare for meditation.
When I pray, I see my heart go deeper, my heart go deeper into my God. When I pray, I feel my heart go deeper, my heart go deeper into my God. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. Right here, right now, right where I am,
If you haven't already, close your eyes and relax. Be still. Go within. Feel the pew just hold you up. Feel any tension just flow out your fingertips and toes. Draw your focus from your head to your heart. And then from your heart to the center of your torso. A spiritual being having a human experience. Allow any illusion of separation between ourselves and God to just melt away. We are a part of the presence, a part of the knowing, a part of the power. And from this amazing place we pray. We are open and receptive to God's living spirit of truth. We start our meditation by praying for others. Bring to mind any individuals, families, groups, organizations that you would like to pray for. You now include all of the prayer requests that have been put in the prayer box out in the foyer, and any other prayer requests received here at Unity of Tampa this week. And we see and we know that the divine perfection is in and expressing through each of these prayer requests as their highest good, unfolding in divine order today and every day hereafter. Now I invite you to take the words I'm about to speak as your own prayer words this morning. I know that I am immersed in the God presence. Every thought in my mind is now inspired by the divine mind. A holy outworking is occurring. There is a nucleus of God thought within my every thought. It is giving me power. It is giving me positive energy. It is a thinking that thinks the right way. A guidance that knows the ways to go. Nothing in my physical world, nothing in my memories can withstand the divine power in which I now rest. There is a power within my human mind that is empowering me now. And this power now moves into every cell of my body, every atom, every molecule. The energizing, renewing. And as I now prepare for a few moments of silence, I open my mind to the divine idea of renunciation in the silence. am experiencing increased energy, clearness of thinking, cleansing of my emotions. I am empowered by God to think the very best, to perceive the very best, and to speak the very best. Our very presence is love. There's a great acceptance inside of me that accepts my world without condemnation. And the healing force of God moves inside of my body, my mind, and my affairs. And I now release this prayer into the spiritual realm and know that perfect results are unfolding. And as we draw our attention back to the sanctuary, let's say together the words from the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we have forgiven our debtors. And leave us not in temptation, and deliver us from evil. For yours is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever.